Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Solution Sunday. Today we are here with my very good friend Trisha Schmalhofer. And my little reverb there. All right. So today, Trisha is a whisperer of the body, alchemist of the spirit, and channel for divine wisdom. Her passion and expertise for blending the structure of science with the flow of spirit has created a successful career as a med healer's cranial sacral therapist, Reiki teacher, sound healer, Akashic records specialist, and health intuitive for over 22 years. In 2019, Trisha was called to create host a podcast, BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, Mystics, featured awe-inspiring guests who are igniting change in the world by sharing their genuine selves. And momentum from the podcast created the need for a community. So she created the BAM community. So, and she has gatherings that empower people to embrace their inner BAM, to live their most inspired lives. So Trisha, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so glad to be here.
It's so exciting. I'm so glad to be able to speak to another alchemist.
Yay! We know we're all alchemists, really.
Exactly.
And I think that's what both of us, I know for me, like inspiring others' inner alchemists to emerge, to allow that magical part of ourselves to come forth and work in our lives.
Exactly. So what's your definition of alchemy?
Alchemy has so many definitions. I mean, it's about a series, entering into a process to shift energy from one state to another. That's kind of like a basic alchemy definition. And back in the ancient days, it was all about the philosopher's stone. It was about turning everything into gold. Gold was the precious, thing. And then even, translating that into the spiritual work, the soul work. Gold is kind of like that high vibration, that light that we all, when we really get into what our soul looks like, it's usually this golden light, right? So I feel like any kind of transformation, and it's a process, and it doesn't always have to be painful. It doesn't always have to be long and drawn out. I think that's a big part of evolving as humans, as we are, into kind of like a new kind of human. It doesn't have to be so hard as it used to be, or we think it needs to be. That alchemy is just a change of the lens, a change of perspective, and then putting that energy and intention into it.
Exactly. I talk about it, I don't really talk about alchemy a whole lot, actually, but I mean, I teach it all the time, but I don't use the label very much, but it might be very helpful to start using the label a little bit more. But it's really, for me, it's really all about changing from one state of being to another. Yes. So when we're healing, it's not about healing the body, because our bodies are not broken. It's about changing from being the version of yourself that is diseased to becoming the version of yourself that is healthy, happy, and whole.
Yes. And, before we started today, we were chit-chatting. I'm like, oh, we're talking about good stuff already. And, we talked about the body has a consciousness, for one. I work with the body a lot. That's how I have learned a lot of what I know, is working with my body and other people's bodies, and the body consciousness. And spirit teachers, the body's inner wisdom teaches me. We all have that part of us that knows exactly what we need and in what order we need it. And the body wants to be at its peak. It wants to be in alignment and serving in a very divine way. The soul, it's hosting our beautiful souls. And so through spirit teachers and the body, I've learned a lot of what I know. And I can't remember where I was going with that. Oh, the blueprint, that we all have that perfect blueprint of what the body is and then what the soul is. And those blueprints I see a lot of times having to come together. It's like a marriage, right? I've even heard you say this. And in some shamanic work I've done in training, that's also their way of looking at it, is that it's like a marriage between the two. And then the mental is kind of like the offspring. It's what's created through, I mean, talk about alchemy, body and soul coming together. Like, that's alchemy. That is a total merging of just beautiful, juicy energy, right? And then the mind is formed as we go through our life process, and it gets programmed, right?
Exactly.
So a lot of what we're working with in alchemy, I feel, is working with, we live in a realm that is full of waves of energy, right? Waves of energy always coming in, emerging from us, getting from each other, from the planet, from the galaxy, from, it's just waves of energy. It's all water, right? It's like different versions of water. And we get feelings from these waves. Then we interpret these feelings as either emotions, it's either good or bad, or if we have mental programming, oh, well, I learned when I was a kid, when I felt that I needed to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's honoring that, but I feel like the alchemy, and this has been my lesson this year so far, of embodying emotions, I want to embody things, is emotions are really just energy that we've labeled as something. Mm-hmm. And we can work with this chi or prana or energy or Holy Spirit or whatever you want to call this, and transform it into something to heal, something to put out, into something that's more higher vibration, and that we are that powerful that we can do it.
We're doing it all the time.
We're doing it all the time.
All the time.
And feelings and emotions can be very powerful, especially if we still have that old programming that's taking us into the pattern. And recognize, self-awareness of recognizing that, and then not getting like, my lesson of embodying emotions was it started overtaking me like an ocean, like, oh my gosh, all of these feelings that I'm having, all of these emotions I'm having of all different varieties, right? Of all different levels. It felt at times like I was like in an ocean. And it's like stepping out of that, like, okay, this is just how I'm interpreting this. How can I move this? Sometimes I had to stay in it to really feel it, so I could let go of that pattern, let go of that, and then do the alchemy to shift out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything is energy. And these waves of energy, like you say, they're here all the time. This living life force energy is flowing to us and through us 24/7. And where we direct our attention and our focus is where we flow that energy. So if we are focused on fear or doubt or guilt or worry, we're focusing our energy and flowing our energy in that direction and creating the exact thing that we don't want.
Exactly.
Right? So we have to start to recognize that our consciousness is being directed for us if we are not directing it ourselves. If we're not being fully present and fully conscious of what it is we want to focus on and create, It's really, really easy for the external world to go, hey, look over here at this really bad thing. And
Yeah.
look at it, it's terrible. And then everybody puts a whole bunch of energy into the really bad thing. And
Yeah.
guess what manifests?
Yes.
Like, it's up to each one of us to start clearing out all of that programming that's causing us to create the things that we don't want.
Yes, definitely.
This
And
is
to recognize that is happening. You know, fear is a very powerful wave.
yeah,
I call them distortion forces, you know,
yeah,
that really triggers a lot because it's a very base emotion and, you know, root chakra stuff. And just being aware of that, and that even being gentle and loving with ourselves, that sometimes that's even so primal that, you know, you may catch a glimpse of something, or you have someone like on the news or someone in your life that's really going through some hard stuff, and it's, you really care about them, they're really in a low place. And it's to recognize, like, okay, like, at what level can I engage in this, but still coming back to alignment. I think that is what our, I don't know what the word is. It's not our mission. It's not our goal, but you know, finding our own alignment so we can navigate through these waves, especially when they're really big, when like the whole collective's going through it, like, which is what just happened. It's like the whole, it's not just like this little community had some devastation, let's all help. It was like across the board. And finding that alignment, finding that way to say, okay, here's what my truth is, here's what my lens, how that looks, and here's how I'm going to approach that. And then also being aware that, oh, my lens actually is a little cockeyed right now, like I may need to do a little shift because I'm not coming from a place of alignment. And how we get in alignment is really, it's kind of unique to each person. There's so many ways we can. So, yeah.
exactly. And it's a matter of having the tools. You know, as humanity, we've never been taught how to bring ourselves into alignment.
Tools, and I call them resources a lot. And I think nature is probably number one for me and a lot of people. You know, even going back into ancient humanity, it's like engaging with nature to feel that awe, to feel that humility, to feel that beautiful connection and all of that juiciness that nature gives us. That's like a good one to start with, I think. It's just to spend time outside.
Yeah. I mean, because it really is all about reconnecting to our true nature. And as the physical earth, our bodies are part of the physical realm. The earth and our bodies are not separate. They're not different. And when we go out in nature, we feel good because it is our natural frequency.
Yes. Well, and there's so many studies now, like research finally is catching up. Science is catching up to what, you know, a lot of us already knew. And the ancient Taoists knew it. They observed nature to come up with how they healed, you know, to understand the body and the energy fields. And they watch turtles mate. And then they're like, oh, I see how they have longevity, you know, like the longer we stay in nature, science is even seeing that our bodies start to change. And the longer we're staying in nature, it actually shifts DNA, just being out there, just breathing the air and unplugging from all of that. And if anyone has ever done that, like spent that many days in nature, and then you come back into reality, it's into the society, it's like a shock. It's like, wait a minute, overstimulation, you know?
Exactly.
nature has natural cycles. And like you just said, we are a part of that. We don't avoid that. Like everything is cyclical, everything is in patterns. And the body is part of that.
Exactly. You know, it's when you're talking about everything is wavelengths and frequencies, you know, it's all about sound and energy, these frequencies. And because the external world has so many frequencies going all the time, and you know,
Yes.
sound, you know, the media, the radio, then 5G, 4G, all of the different frequencies and wavelengths that are going all the time. You know, when
Yes.
we're out in nature, nature is like the buffer that kind of evens all of that out. There's not so much of that. There aren't TVs blaring in nature, you know, hopefully, you know. And so when we go out in nature, our aura, our wavelengths can smooth out and, you know, become coherent again. And for me, I live out in nature, you know, but I mean, I'm still in a town, I'm still in a place, I can still get into those patterns of busyness and overwhelm, you know, which is just being bombarded by all these energies. And then like, but when I go to the city, like if I go to New York City or Montreal or someplace, it's like, whoa, like it's a lot of energy. And I don't think that, you know, when we're constantly in all that energy, like we just get used to it and we think that it's normal. And we just kind of live in this state of like doing stuff all the time because we think that it's normal. Not.
Right. And how I look at that is, you know, is we can, with alchemy, like that's man-made frequencies, right? And you know, as humans, we're also emitting waves, you know, we each are emitting different waves. So, and a lot of people that are raising consciousness and are aware of this, like usually are very sensitive to the man-made frequencies. But we can also do alchemy to that as well. And that's what I try to, like, if I'm going to go into a city, like I have ways that I shift my energy field to be able to filter and work with these frequencies. So I'm not like forced to like go, well, it wouldn't be forced, but I like living out in nature, like, but sometimes we do have to dip in, or we do want to go see a show in New York. You know, we do want to like enjoy, not everything that's man-made is evil, you know, there's some very enjoyable things. And part of dealing with these Wi-Fi frequencies and all of that is, as humans, we're talking about the body, it can adapt. It can adapt and do alchemy and shift everything. So eventually, I think as humans, if, you know, things keep going and we still have technology and all of that, over time, the human body will mutate and be able to adapt and deal with these wavelengths that are man-made a little bit easier. But until then, I feel like we can use this principle of alchemy for those kind of frequencies as well. So we don't feel like we're like victims, like we're like being forced to not participate in the world just because it's so overstimulating. Or if you are living in a city and you are in a job where you go into a building and you're doing alchemy and you're changing consciousness from the belly of the beast, so to speak. I have students that work at Harris, like defense contractors, right? But they're doing their magic and their alchemy from within there, and they're creating change. You know, they're badasses, alchemists, mystics in these systems that we would look at as, oh, I don't want to work there, I don't want to be in there. That gives me hope that we're shifting these man-made things as well. that alchemy applies and we can be our magical selves. And then when I'll encourage them, like when you're home, like have a space in your yard or in your house that is your portal. It is your reset. You know, it is your place where you can find your alignment. You can detox from that. You can bring in the natural flow. You can get to the point where you're not overstimulated.
Absolutely. And I think it's really, you know, our bodies are already adapted. It's our consciousness that's not. You know, when we're not aware of the effect that frequencies have on us, when we're not conscious of all of this stimulation that we don't see with our eyes or even necessarily hear with our ears, but much of which we do hear with our ears, and we just allow it all in, if we're not really conscious that our attention is creating our reality, then our reality gets created for us, and we are the effect of all of these frequencies. But when we flip that around and we start to recognize that I'm in charge of my own frequencies, and I am in charge of keeping myself balanced and calm and happy in every moment of every day, and I have the ability to do that. And if I get pushed off center, I have the ability to bring myself back. And I'm not just talking about for me, I'm talking about we all have this ability if we become aware that I have this ability.
I totally agree that, and thank you for even repeating that if we're not taking the helm, if we're not taking the wheel and realizing like, no, I'm creating my reality here and it will be created for us. We're like all those waves we're talking about, then you are just really going along with the current that's being made for you. Now it's different if you're following divine will or the soul's flow, you know, like that's the alignment we're talking about. That's the conscious. And then we have some choice within that, you know. There's something that I was going to say and it just left me, but consciousness, striving for that.
It's like we each have our own, I talk about the soul like it's a snowflake. Like every snowflake is completely unique, divinely perfect, sacred geometry, and completely, utterly unique. And each soul is the same way, in my estimation. And so we each have our own soul song to come here and sing. We each have our own unique piece of the puzzle. But when we come here, we're programmed that here's the puzzle and you need to fit into this puzzle over here because this is the way it is. But it's like, that's not our puzzle. It's not where we're supposed to, that's not the shape that we need to be. We're creating our own puzzle over here. Like we've got our own unique shape and we're drawing in the puzzle pieces that fit our shape so that we can create this beautiful puzzle. But the ugly puzzle is like, no, you have to fit into here. And so we end up distorting our shape to try to fit into this puzzle that we're not supposed to fit into.
Right. And there's a lot of theory, soul theory, that when we come in, you know, our memory, our soul memory kind of gets wiped. Although I hear in my channeling that the younger generations coming in, that's not happening. Like they're coming in fully intact, with full memory. So I'm getting chills as I say that. So it's like, so that's the wave that's coming in to kind of boost the consciousness. It's like they don't have to work through the years of figuring out that puzzle's not mine.
As long as their parents are conscious. This is the thing, because I can speak kind of directly to that because I have full memory. I had full memory as a child. When I would go to bed at night, I would just be floating in the unified field of unconditional love, which is God or source or universe, whatever you want to call it. It's like that is, and it is always. It never leaves, it never changes. And that's the source of everything that everything that we generate is coming from this field of unconditional love.
Yes.
That as that child, I could look out at the world and I could see that unconditional love was not how this planet is working. Like, it is not the foundation. And that everybody had forgotten who they actually were. Because I knew that if everybody remembered this state of being, that there would be no war on this planet. There would be no lack. There would be no poverty. There would be no disease. And I could see clearly that disease and poverty and war and religion, you know, whose God is better than whose God is right and wrong. And like, none of that was necessary if everybody just remembered that we were unconditional love. So, you know, but then kind of being in this world where nobody else remembered that, it was like all of that got kind of programmed out as I tried to fit myself into this puzzle that was completely distorted.
Right.
So, you know, these kids coming in, I can absolutely guarantee that they are connected to source fully.
Yes.
You know, this is also why I talk about like the educational system. Like, we get educated out of our inner knowing. We get educated out of that connection to source.
Yes.
And then we have to now clear out all of that programming that we received that has disconnected us from that being.
What I'm seeing as you say that is a lot of these kiddos coming in have codes in their field that actually are going to help their parents. Like, they're handpicking their parents.
Yep.
And this is true of walk-ins in general, or there's a lot of like big assigned guides for certain people there's a lot of codes that are coming in, either transmitting in, and these kiddos are going to have codes in their field. So they're going to be helping their families shift.
Yeah.
Because it's time. Like, we're here. It's not coming. It's not in a few years. It's like we're in that wave of big transition. So there's a lot of help coming in from the light beings. There's a lot of help coming up from ancient ones of the earth. It's a unified shift of all realms. And what I'm hearing you say is, you know, I do a lot of Akashic Records work, and your soul's probably from a system that is unconditional love. So it's really hard for souls like you to come here. It's hard.
It's a cakewalk, that's for sure.
It's challenging, right? A lot of my lifetimes were here. So it's kind of like, I feel like a lot of my role is to assist souls like you that like, it's like, wait, I came here to like bring this high frequency in, and what the heck did I do? Like, a lot of you all are like, wait, what did I do? Why did I sign up for this? And it's like, no, the timing's right. Just hang in there. Here's how you have to navigate through it. You know, because polarities, we're a realm of polarity, and it's extremes. And that's what I'm talking about. Emotions. It's like this bliss and then devastation. And you can experience both. We're in a time now where you can experience this wide range of emotions all at the same time. And our brains are like, what? How can we do this? You know? But it's that observer. That's what a lot of the ancient practices teach is witness, observing, like kind of stepping out of it. You don't want to like not feel the feelings, because that's part of what's great about this realm is these beautiful emotions and feelings that we get when we're with people that we love, and we're eating that delicious food, or wearing like a shirt that it's like, oh, I love this color. It feels good on my skin. Like, these beautiful physical sensations, or sitting out and hugging a tree and feeling that connection, like that's the beauty of this realm. And that's what we have to focus on, is when we are like experience the not so good side of things, to try to, you know, step into that witness state, step into that loving and gentle and unconditional love state of ourselves, and not get so hung up on it, because that's when we can do the alchemy, when we're not like getting tossed.
Yeah. And when we start to realize that, you know, because everything is energy, I talk about energy like going into the paint store. You know, there are all the colors of the rainbow, and then there are like a bazillion shades of each of those colors to choose from. And energy is the same way, from the darkest of the heaviest to the evilest energies to the most blissful, joyful, happy energies, and everything in between, all the frequencies. So the higher the frequency, the lighter and more joyful the energy is. The lower the frequency, the heavier and denser it is.
That's right.
And our bodies are just the receptors. Our bodies are the sensory organ that lets us know what frequency we're tuned into.
That's right.
And if we just realize that we don't have to stay tuned into the same channel all the time, if we can feel the heaviness of a loss of a loved one, but we don't have to live there for the rest of our lives, and we're not meant to.
No.
And we can start to tune up that frequency and just tune to a better channel, a more enjoyable channel, when we just realize it's energy. And it's just the process of alchemy, is literally just tuning the station to a different station.
Right. It doesn't have to be like the ancient alchemy where there's like 20 steps. You know, there's it's a matter of flipping the switch, or I'll say change the lens. I use that a lot. But to get to that point, to realize that it is that easy. And this is something I wanted to say too, there are going to be times, even people that do practice this, like you teach this, even you probably, I'll speak for me, like I'll get into, I get lost in it sometimes. Sometimes my lens gets shifted, and then I'm like I just came out of it, some grief, like heavy stuff. And it's like, I know I'm in this, I'm going to feel it, because I'm going to do some alchemy around this, but I have to feel this. I have to feel it in my cells. I'm not staying here. But during that time, and even like there's some self-critical talk, you know, the old programming that starts to emerge when you stay in that too long, right? In those lower densities is when the programming and those thought forms really start to talk louder. Being very gentle and loving with ourselves when we are in that, when we may not be doing alchemy and staying in alignment and taking our own wheel. It's not judging ourselves, not being hard on ourselves, to be gentle and loving with ourselves as we shift out of it.
Exactly. Keith is asking, what is your favorite way to tap in and direct your energy?
Hi, Keith. My favorite way, well, besides nature, but we talked about nature a lot, but that's my favorite. What's starting to emerge now for me is music and movement, and music and movement that's very spontaneous and very allowing my soul to emerge out and express itself. So it's like I have this little frame drum here. So sometimes I'll just pick this up if I'm in meditation, or if I'm having a day that it's like not in alignment. I'm not going to call it a bad day. It's just a day I'm not in alignment, or my lens is a little foggy, right? I'll just pick up a drum and I'll just start, you know, not pounding, but just finding like what's inside of me that needs to come out. Or even now I'm exploring voice. It doesn't have to sound perfect, doesn't even have to be English language. It's light language, it's primal language, whatever. I have a gong. It's not behind me today. It's at BAM, but music, but not in the sense of, I don't have the training. That was my big thing. I can't play music. I don't have the training.
Oh, right.
I was just talking to two people that I'm in a band with that have the training, have PhDs in music, like can hear little eighth note differences. And they're like, the way music is now, where what they're getting called into with consciousness is throwing all that out the window, that it's about what we're talking about, just allowing it, that training's not, in fact, training becomes an obstacle.
Yes.
I'm getting chills as I say that. And I think this is true in a lot of fields. It's like training, like you don't need the certification. You don't need that degree, that piece of paper, like it's all inside of us. Let it emerge. So that is my favorite way right now. And then intuitive movement. A lot of teachers teach this. Gabrielle Roth teaches this, like ecstatic dance, conscious dance, or just checking in with the body, getting in alignment and saying, how do I need to move today to get me in that space? And if you do it with others, don't worry about if it's right, if it's structured, or it's just, I need to move my shoulder like this because that's what my body needs, and I need to roll on the ground and scream, whatever. So those are my new favorite ways. Now, if I can do those out in nature, it's like a win-win. And I do that. I host gatherings where I get people to come, no matter what your spiritual affiliation, no matter what your authentic spiritual practice is. I said, bring what healing tools and sound tools you are getting called to, or that want to come. And we just gather and just allow spirit to move us. And it's perfect every time.
I love that. One of my favorite ways is, I've been really sitting and focusing on the light in my chest, like as if it was a sun, like my heart chakra, and just opening that up and letting that light shine out. So like I close my eyes so that I can see the unseen and I can focus on that light that is coming out. There's a huge light spectrum and our physical eyes can only see a fraction of it. So just because we can't see the light coming out from us does not mean that it's not there. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It does exist, and we can consciously shine our light. And when I consciously shine my light and become that light, I can infuse that light with any energy I want. Peace, ease, joy, love, freedom, capable, confident, certain, any energy I can infuse into that light, and I can start being that.
Yes.
That shifts my state of being instantaneously.
I'm glad that you're bringing in the internal work, because that's important. Just sitting and working with what's in here, that's the inner alchemy. What I'm sharing about is letting that inner alchemy like come out into alchemy to the external, and both are so important. It's
have one without the other.
You can't, and it's all the same anyway, right? Exactly. There is no in, out, up, down. It's all just the same. Our brains need that sometimes to, or even just to communicate, which we're going into telepathic communication anyway. A lot of us are already doing it. And that's the new human. That's the way that we have done it and will do it again and are doing it. But it's interesting about the light, because I've been doing a lot of inner work with my soul essence and what that looks like and who am I really. And I feel like a big alchemy is happening in my life, a new path, like a new calling. It's not a new purpose. It's kind of like an up-leveled purpose. And so right now I'm in a lot of stillness, waiting, like, because I don't have the direction yet. So yes, working with that inner light. But there was something I wanted to share when you said that about the spectrum. I just in May went up to Alabama to Manitou Cave. There's a beautiful cave up there. And we went through. This wonderful woman, Annette Reynolds, is the caretaker of it. And it's truly going into the womb of Mother Earth. When you go into a cave, it is divine feminine to the nth degree. And we went into this open chamber and did practice, did music and prayer, and created this lovely energy and received. And at one point we turned out all the lights. And if you, now this is darkness. Yeah, this is right. This cave, these life forms, these rocks have never seen the light of day. It's a totally different world, but no light. And I said, let me see. I asked my higher self, my soul, to show me, let me see the light that's in here. And all of a sudden, because there's no light, I saw the web of light. I saw webs, lines of light. And then the longer that the lights were off, I started seeing the people. I started seeing their auras. I saw the outline of everyone that was there. And then she ended up turning the lights on. I'm like, I want to spend like a couple days in here. Like, what would happen if we're in there for days? Like, what would we start seeing? Because we will adapt, right? Our bodies will shift and adapt. And then it dawned on me, this is how like a lot of the Cherokee hid out in there during the Trail of Tears. And it dawned on me, this is how they did it. Over time, they didn't need light. They could just see.
Oh,
you can start
interesting.
See the different spectrums. Our eyes can see all of that. And that's how the psychic gifts work. Why some people can see energy and because they can just perceive at different levels, but it takes practice and then that willingness to allow it.
Yep. And that's really what the third eye is all about. It's the third eye that sees the unseen.
Yes.
Physical eyes can only see the physical stuff, but it's that third eye that starts to see when our physical eyes are closed. I remember the first time that I had like a full-on third eye activation, and I was going to bed. I turned out the light and I was still seeing everything. I was like, whoa, no, wait a minute. And I had closed my eyes actually, and I was still seeing everything. And I was like, wait a minute, my eyes are closed. Oh my gosh, my eyelids are malfunctioning. Like, it was like, the funniest reaction. But then I just realized, oh my gosh, I'm seeing with my third eye. It's just that I'm not seeing with my physical eyes.
And it's to talk to your brain, like let your brain know it's okay.
Yeah.
Like this is, it's that programming of that you can't see that. Yes, let all that go. I have one client that said, Trisha, we have eyes on our skin. Why do you think they have all of these depictions of deities with eyeballs? And he said, I'm practicing seeing with those eyes, like keeping my house dark and seeing. And he's like, and I'm actually having success. So, yes, we have our third eye, but we also have chakras and openings all over ourselves. Each pore, is an eye.
When you think about it, like we are the one I am, the law of one, there is one. And as the one, we are all that is, which means that we have attention points, infinite attention points. And all we have to do is place our awareness in the attention point that we wish to see from. And there we are. So we can place our attention point anywhere in our body, anywhere in the universe, and there we are. We've just been taught that we have to take our body, that if our body isn't there, then it's not real, that we're not there. But we're not our bodies, we're pure consciousness. So we can be anywhere in the non-physical realm.
Yes, I think, you know, there's that quote, like, it's not our darkness we're afraid of, it's our power and our light. I think as we realize like how powerful we really are, that we can shift just like that. If we want something, I mean, we share this in our dream weaving group, right? It's like, when you really get into it, it's like, I'm manifesting, boop, it's like that. It just happens. And it's to have faith that it's going to happen, receive that it's going to happen, get in that zone of, I am a being that creates my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, it's to accept our power and fully live that way. And realize, yeah, like we can shift. We were even talking before we started this, our physical attributes, you know, why not? Why can't you shift the physical body?
Exactly.
It's all codes, right? DNA, it's frequency.
Exactly. You know, they talk about, you know, like spontaneous remission, or, you know, it's not about the physical body. There was a spontaneous shift of consciousness, and then the body reflected the shift of consciousness. It's literally that simple.
Yes.
But everybody's looking at all the physical stuff and thinking that we have to change the physical stuff. It's like the physical stuff changes all by itself when we change the non-physical self. We change ourselves, and then all the physical stuff changes to match.
Yes. Change can happen on the different levels because we're multi-dimensional, and we have a physical or the sensation, we have the mental, we have the emotional, we have the spiritual, and then up and up and up, right? And sometimes the change does need to happen. A lot of times it's with the mind. I realized that a long time ago. The mental is really the challenge of this realm, you know? And the body does follow the mind, does follow the spirit. And so, but sometimes people, when I'm working in sessions for healing, sometimes I allow the person to choose which way they want to let go of something. And sometimes it is a matter of, oh, let's just change that. Or sometimes it is an Akashic record thing. Oh, well, you got a soul agreement up here. Let's clear that out. You're now aware of it. That's where the healing needs to happen. And sometimes it is in the physical. They do need to like go into the pain and realize, like, don't be afraid of this pain. This pain is here for a reason. It's your friend, actually. It's like you share. It's their body's way of saying, hey, there's something in the mind that needs to shift. If it's a chronic pain, sometimes it's about doing movement or like getting into the pain to the point. One of my teachers led us in this somatic movement where it's like, okay, go into the pain and stay with it long enough and do the alchemy where it actually can turn into pleasure. It actually will shift. The more you're paying attention and sending it love and giving it awareness, the body loves to be aware of, or that's not the right. It likes to be noticed. It likes to be listened to.
And loved. Yeah.
And loved and appreciated. It works hard, and its only job is to keep you alive and keep you in homeostasis. And it'll shift all kinds of patterns and move the pain over here and move the tension pattern this way in order to keep you going. It's one of the most loving relationships we'll have. And so as a person
to not love our bodies.
Yes, exactly. It's evil, even in some of the old spiritual paradigms. This body's just a shell. We're gonna leave this body. It's like, well, you know what? Until then, your body's your best friend. Your body is like a child, really. It kind of acts like a child. It's a whole ecosystem. The longer that I work with the body and I a lot of times now I'm just in witness state. Like the body's just telling me, put your hand here and here, and then just watch the magic happen. Because the person's inner physician just does all the work. I see galaxies in there.
Yes, me too. Yes.
If you look at, in one of my classes, we looked at the liver and the little liver lobules and up close. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a complex, like cosmic map.
Yeah,
That's one little step. It's
the entire
all
universe is inside.
It's all in here. It's not out there.
Exactly.
It's all right here. And I know, like, I think like with Keith's documentary, because Keith's on here and you're in it, yay! That's the theme of it, is that it's all in here. It's an inside job.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the external world is the mirror. The external world is the reflection of the inside. You know, it seems like it's a hard concept to grok, but once you grok it, once you really understand that everything comes from within.
Everything.
We change in here. We do the alchemy inside, and everything that we change inside changes the entirety of all creation outside.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I do a lot of external stuff. And so this point in my life, spirit, in my channeling and my meditation, it's like, be still, Trisha. You know, like, it's time to rest and be still, like, go within. And, you know, I'm doing that longer and longer. Like, I would do it, get my message, and I'm done, you know, let me go out there in the world. Now it's like, no, wait, because the deeper I go, the more that I can sit in there. I'm seeing the depth and how beautiful, and depth and expansion.
Yes.
It's like, and the layers of my soul essence. And that takes stillness. That takes that time to sit and listen and observe. I think in our society, that's one of the big shifts that I'm starting to teach, but I got to start with me, is the yin, or the feminine, is about stillness and sitting and listening and waiting, patience, doing that inner alchemy, and then it's the inspired action. Then do the action out in the world, because it's coming from that space. It's not coming from this space.
Exactly.
If I'm not taking that time to fully align and access and love this, like, I'm having a love affair with Trisha right now. Like, this is my partner.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'll find a partner when it's time, whatever. The inner beloved will match the external. But the point is, like, I feel like that's where the work is for all of us, is in here, because that's where it all is anyway. All the healing we need, all of the information, it's a remembering. Things are waking up. We have to set the time for that to happen, for the things, for the little DNA codes and the transmissions we're getting and the stuff that's happening, like little codes. That's how I see it. Things are just boop, 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 waking up, and we're remembering.
Exactly. It's like all of our circuitry is being turned back on. All the wiring is being reconnected, where we have been so disconnected for hundreds of thousands of years as humanity.
Yeah. And we're ready. And we are processing a lot of information. It's exponentially more than we did even a year ago. Downloads, information getting delivered, brain turning on, and we're processing so much that that's when I go back to be gentle and loving with yourself. Know when and it's okay if today doing your best is taking a nap.
Exactly. There's power in taking a nap. That's why they call it a power nap.
Exactly. The body heals itself when we sleep.
Exactly. Precisely. So many people don't take naps when their body is asking for it. It's like, no, I gotta go do this thing. I don't have time to take a nap. It's like, if your body is asking for it, it's asking for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you are tired, it's your body is asking you to stop.
That's right. That's right. So we have to listen. That's really the instructions moving forward is go within, listen. It's all there. And yeah, whether it's, whatever area is causing the dis-ease, it's knowing, even trusting, where it is. Like, just ask, where is this stemming from? You'll go there, do what you got to do the mental imagery, or sometimes it's flicking the switch or sweeping it out or whatever you have to do. But trusting that inner authority, long are the days that we are trusting what's outside of us, the doctors or the priests, or this is the inner authority. This is where it is. Yes.
This is the ultimate alchemy. This is the ultimate shift, where we shift from looking to that external authority to looking to our own inner guidance.
Yep.
Going into the temple. Keith was saying,
yes.
my favorite statement from religion is your body is a temple. And if it's a temple, I should listen to it, or I should honor it. And he says, sit, ask, and listen.
Yep. The word temple's coming in a lot. Not even like, and even like I'm seeing my house as a temple right now, but yes, ultimately this is the temple. This is home. Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Keith. That's the word.
Yeah. John says there were only 2 strands of DNA working for thousands of years. The 10 that got hacked by the evil are now being reactivated. Yeah. Exactly. 12 strand DNA. You got it.
It's all in the code.
10 non-physical.
We're getting recoded. It's yes, things are turning on, things are turning off. We're doing it. Like, again, we can say like light beings, we're getting help from out there, and that's all true. It's all happening in here. We know what we came here to do. It's all programmed in here. So just allowing that and then expressing it. So yes, all of these things are getting activated. A lot of my work is shifting into transmitting codes so people can turn it back on when they're ready to turn it back on. Yeah.
And you do a lot of sound healing, which is so powerful. I love doing sound baths and utilizing that frequency consciously to realign and clear my own energy field. It's such a beautiful way of clearing your field.
And that's the sound is God. Like, that was the first, and then God said it's the living word. It depends who, what you look at. But sound is waves, it's frequency, and it's really what connects the multiverse. And so and what I've learned is everyone will, whatever the sound waves are, people will pick the frequencies that they need. The rest will flow through. That it's really a perfect healer. And
even toning, making your own sound, allowing that vibration to go through your cells that's coming from within. That's really, really powerful as well.
It is. And many people right now, this area is really going through a lot of shifts because it's about our communication with ourselves.
Being able to speak our truth.
And speak our truths. But also one teacher explained, like, this chakra is not only about speaking our truth, but also how well can we be silent? And that goes into the listening.
Yeah, so that we can know our truth. If we don't go into that silence, it's really easy to see a whole bunch of other people's truths and then assume that those truths are our truths. That's not true at all.
And it's discernment, right?
Exactly.
That's what I teach. Like, that's one of the biggest tools, but we got to know first and have that inner discernment, that inner navigation system, because we are surfing. We are navigating through all of these waves, as we said, right? So that discernment, that alignment of what's my yes or no? Is this mine? Isn't this mine? Is this trip a good thing to do? Is this, it's like going back to like the binary code, right? Yes or no. And then, and then as we evolve, of course, it gets more complex. But when you just go back to it, just getting that inner discernment online is a good just base tool to have.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Keith says, thank you both for being such beautiful and profound difference makers on this planet. I love you, Lisa and Trisha.
We love you too,
Keith.
Thanks, Keith, for being on. Yeah, well,
beautiful.
I think we all have that capability of being, we're all here to create change in some way, in our unique, authentic way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're reminding people, like, is that their way is their way, and that's fine. If their way is to be a mom or be a teacher or be a chef, or how are they shining their light in the world? We're all healers in one way. We're all light bringers. And so whatever way that we're doing it is our way, and it's making the difference. It's making the change. But that goes back to, it's all an inside job. So now, however we're allowing our essence and soul to express itself in the world, whatever our passions are, it's all good and it's all perfect.
Exactly. For us to start to realize that as humans, there is nothing wrong with us. It's all consciousness. If we're convinced there's something wrong with us, well, then that's what we're going to live out. But when we start to realize there's nothing wrong with us and there never has been, and we start to take our power back, we can alchemize any state of being into another, into our higher selves, into a higher state of being.
Yes.
And that's a journey.
It is. And it's okay that sometimes we need people in our life to remind us of that.
Yeah,
that we cannot, like, that is, we can shift anything. We can do alchemy with anything. And we're not on this planet by ourselves. Like, we can do a lot of self-work, and that's where ultimately the connection is, but that it's okay to, like, it's good to have a tribe or a network of people that we can get reminded sometimes when it does get overwhelming, because we all are going to get there. We all let emotions come in and or we get overwhelmed with the to-do stuff. That's the nature of the reality, but it's to be able to find our way back in and have people in our life that remind us gently and lovingly.
Exactly.
What we already know. Yes.
Right. Finding our soul tribe.
Finding our soul tribe.
Trisha, this has been such a great conversation. I could talk for hours and hours with you.
I know. We covered a lot. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We'll have to have you come back again.
Yeah.
Yep. Some more.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being on. And so if anybody wants to reach out to you and find out more about being a badass alchemist and mystic or sound healing or any of the things you have to offer, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, or I do Akashic Records readings. I do mentoring. Yeah, from a soul level. And I also can do healing virtually. I'll give my email. It's bamcommunity11@gmail.com is my email. And I have a couple websites, but let's just do the BAM one for now, bamcommunity11.com. And I'm going to give my phone number on here too. It's 772-559-1993. And you can text me or call me if you just want to connect that way.
Beautiful. So if you are watching on Facebook, just check the chat and I've put the links in there. If you're watching on YouTube, check the show notes, or if you're listening on Connecting You to You Radio, check the show notes and the notes should be in there.
Yay!
Yeah, so everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another Soul-lution Sunday, because the soul is the solution. So I'm Lisa Warner. I am the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing, the creator of Soul-lution Sunday, and the creator of Aligning with Your Radiantly Healthy Self, a 12-week dive into the core of you to alchemize from the you that is quote unquote not okay to seeing the you that is perfect in every way, so that you can see the well-being you are. And so thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Trisha, and I can't wait to have you back on again.
I can't wait either. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.
All right, everyone, have a great week. Until next week, create for yourselves a great week. Bye for now.